guys, welcome back
to another episode of
Coffee Break.
Clink. That's kind of cute.
We're getting better.
Where we just left off is we are still on the roller roaster.
Goodbye, Carrie.
And we're about to see if they all hang on the rest of the way.
I don't think Carrie's dead. I think we were close enough to the end of the ride that I don't think she got incinerated.
Honestly, I don't know which way High School Me would have gone with this. We're gonna see. Jack was the first to get out. Leaping from the seat, he landed a couple feet lower onto the ground. At the very end of the ride, the coaster had lowered down near the ground where it stopped. The rest got out, and by now, everyone knew what had happened. "Carrie!" Jack called out, in the general direction of where she had fallen. "Very good! You 6 have passed the second test! On to the third!" "No!" Jack yelled in reply to the voice. "Not until we find Carrie!" "Oh, Jack," came the maniacal reply. I like the word maniacal, apparently.
Yeah, you've used it 3 times.
"Carrie failed! You will move on without her." "I'm with Jack," Trevor said. "We aren't moving on until we find Carrie." Or her body, Jack thought, but he didn't say it. He simply turned and started walking back in the direction of the coaster had come from. "Jack!" The voice was angry. "If you keep going this way, you will come upon the pits. The pits which I have the ability to reopen at any time." Calmly he added, "Think carefully about what you want to do." Jack faltered. The psycho had held the ace. Jack took a deep breath, wanting to press on despite the danger, hoping he could get to Carrie, if she was still alive. But with a sigh, he gave in, lowering his head in defeat. He started to turn back around to the group, then he stopped. He had heard a noise coming from behind him. Turning back around in the darkness, he heard it again.
"What's that?"
Teddy asked softly. Softly.
What's that?
The noise continued, almost like steps, but not normal steps, more like that of a zombie, stumbling aimlessly. Then soft grunts were heard mingled with the gravel as the sound grew closer. Finally, Jack squinted into the darkness, saw a figure emerge. It was Carrie. She was hopping on her right foot, moving surprisingly fast. And she was mad. Her face was contorted into a big frown of anger. She was balling her hands into tight fists, and she powered forward, hopping furiously ahead. Jack
What's up with their other foot?
What?
What's up with their other foot?
She broke it.
Lame. You're so stupid, Carrie. You broke your foot.
Stupid Carrie. I wished you had died.
Stupid Carrie.
Jack sighed with relief. Carrie finally approached within a few yards of the group. "Is no one going to help me?" she questioned. Jack and Trevor quickly stepped up to her and braced her on each side. She looked at the blank sky. She looked up at the blank black sky. "I bet you think this is funny, don't you? You sick beast." Went with beast, okay. In the calmest voice you could imagine, the reply came immediately. "I prefer master."
Oh, that's golden.
Carrie let out a grunt of complete rage. "I'm so glad you could make it back, Carrie. Your intelligence fascinates me, and it will work well with the next test. You can thank Jack for having to limp all the way back to the ground yourself. He thought better of going out into the pit fields to find you. Who can blame him?" She was still visibly angry, but currently had nothing else to say and resorted to glaring at the unseen psycho in the sky. "Hurry along now, my subjects. The next test is just ahead, and I think you're going to like it." Star. By the time they had followed the path to the next amusement, Carrie had stopped Steaming,
probably.
Carrie had stopped steaming. She was still angry at the man behind the sick game, but she was no longer in a blind rage.
Why is she the only one mad?
I mean, you get more angry when you break an ankle. The roller coaster had come out of a long spiral, and Carrie was very dizzy. She had still been bracing against the direction of the spiral when the coaster unexpectedly veered the other direction. The coaster's force and her own arms had flung her like a rag doll out the side. The only reason she survived was because the coaster had been close to the ground after the spiral, and they were in one of the short segments without fire pits. In other words, she had gotten really lucky and she knew it. She had, however, sprained her ankle rather badly. Just sprained? Okay. Or so she thought. Trevor had taken a look at it before heading down to the path, and he said he thought it was broken. And was amazed she wasn't in agonizing pain.
Her foot's facing the opposite direction. It's just sprained, Trevor. I swear, it's just sprained.
It's just a flesh wound.
It's just a flesh wound.
Your arm's off.
Like, Carrie, I can see bone. No, my skin is just very pale.
I guess that's what blind rage does to you, she said sardonically.
Wouldn't blind rage literally be really funny? Like, as long as you're angry, you can't see and you're just running into poles.
I should write a short story about that. A person with anger management problems who goes blind when he gets too angry. Now they had made it to the end of the path. The large impending wall that had flanked them the whole time now cut in from both sides and ended at the entrance to what clearly was the third amusement. There was a big sign posted above the entrance that read, "Hall of Mirrors." It clearly didn't go with the entrance itself. Apparently, the psycho had taken the sign from the actual Hall of Mirrors somewhere. Finally, you have arrived at the third and final attraction here at my amusement park. I call it the Hall of Fears. You stretched out the R in a way that makes it sound like or. Fears. I had to think about that one.
Fjords. I thought it was gonna be Fearers.
Fearers. Arr. That one is a bit of a stretch, Carrie taunted. Well, thankfully, for both of you and me, came the impatient reply, this is the last test I named myself.
I really wish that he hadn't named it that. He had named it the Hall of Scary Things.
Scary Things. So, said Trevor, is this just a big maze? Trevor, it's much more than just a maze.
This is much more than just a maze. It's just amazing.
This test is to assess your brain. I want to know how your noggin works, and I want to know what controls you. Oh, and I want to know.
End of sentence.
And I want to know what controls you.
Jack's like, oh no, my mind is only full of hot girls.
A maze of hot girls? Nice. What are you?
No, his fear though. Everywhere he looks, they're just rejecting him. No.
Looks over at another hot girl. She goes, no. What you are most afraid of.
Jack, let's share our feelings.
He ended with the loudest cackle yet.
Oh, yeah.
Leaving chills on everyone's bodies. Everyone's bodies is a weird, I don't like it. And saw that there were 6 different paths going 6 different directions to start out. Each one was lined with walls of mirrors and topped with a black ceiling that had a light fixture every so often.
Hey, theory, there's 6 because he planned for Carrie to fall off, but he didn't plan for her to survive the fall.
I don't think so. The lights were rigged to come on as a person walked near it and off when they passed.
I'm gonna make a guess that they all go down a different path, but Sam and Timmy are the one that take a path together.
Maybe. I don't remember. Presumably to save energy because of the size of the maze. Along the floor, each path had a single stripe running down the very middle of the path. Each stripe for each path was a different color. To the left of the entrance, on the front wall, was a mural with words painted across it. Look to your left, and you'll see a few words of wisdom. If you look out the window to your left, you'll see the Atlantic Ocean. Once you enter the maze trial, I will no longer communicate with you. Oh, and one more thing you should know. The fastest of you will be rewarded well. I would try to win this one if I were you. Have fun! Carrie had expected another cackle, but this time, a click was heard, and the soft carnival music that had been playing since the beginning shut off. The cackle had given Carrie chills before. This new still silence made her shiver. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Timmy stepped up to the mural and asked, "Should I read it?" Trevor nodded, and Timmy started reading aloud. The mural read as follows. You are not reading this mural.
No, please, it'll be so fun. It'll be so fun.
This
Move your
mural.
hand. Move your hand.
This poetic mural that I spent probably a lot of time on is not being read in the Timmy voice. I'm sorry.
Come on, I want to do it.
No. No. It'll be a bonus feature at the end
Okay,
of
bonus
the
feature.
series. Step lively now and run ahead, but wary or you'll end up dead. Of things like this, it must be said, you must watch the danger. There is no hope to go around, or digging tunnels underground. One answer only to be found. You must use some wisdom. Fear is...
Wait, that didn't rhyme at all.
It's not supposed to. You gotta get into the rhyme scheme. Fear is lurking round every turn. Where to go, you must discern. If you want a hope to learn, you must pay attention.
What should have happened was the first 3 lines rhyme, different line. Next 3 lines rhyme, and then that line rhymes with the one before.
Rhyme scheme AAAB, CCCB, DDDB.
Yes.
But I chose AAAB, CCCD, EEEF. And that'll do it for this episode. The entrance to the maze. What is the importance of this mysterious poem?
Will they all take different paths, or will they all take the same one?
Who will live and who will die? Next time on Coffee Break!